On November 5th, Frau decides to write a comprehensive report on how she became trapped in a mountain cabin after gathering the notes she has been taking over the previous few months. It all begins in May when Frau, two friends, and their dog Lynx go on vacation. Frau feels uncomfortable around the poor guy since she is not accustomed to animals. The pals decide to go to the pub in a nearby village once they finally settle into the cabin. Frau stays with Lynx since she is exhausted. She tries to pet the dog out of boredom, but Lynx yells at her. Lynx is sobbing beside the door when Frau wakes up the following morning. After letting him out to relieve himself, she looks around the home and finds that her friend have not returned. Concerned that something might have happened to them, Frau begins walking toward the village, Lynx leading the way. She runs to his side as soon as she hears him cry. He apparently struck his nose in some way, but she is unable to determine why. Frau continues, but Lynx turns back rather than following her. Frau takes a few steps and then runs into an unseen wall. She hears a thumping as well, but it's her own heartbeat. Frau finds it odd that no sirens went off and that no interested villagers stopped by to see the barrier. She chooses to return since, despite her best efforts, she is unable to continue. She discovers a farmhouse with two people down the road, but she is unable to communicate with them because of the invisible wall. The farmers appear to be stuck in time. Realizing that Lynx is now her only companion, Frau gives up and heads back to the cabin to smoke. Frau goes to bed since she has run out of options. She tries to go outside to investigate after hearing an odd noise, but as she opens the door, she finds that the barrier is now obstructing the entry to the house. Frau screams, but she wakes up in her bed to find Lynx there to meet her. She checks the door right away to make sure everything is okay. She then takes a stroll outside. Frau goes back to the cabin and retrieves her friend's binoculars to keep an eye on the area. She determines that the couple at the farmhouse is dead because they haven't moved yet. She reflects on her pals and questions whether she ought to have accompanied them to the end. Just then, Lynx starts barking and bolts off. Frau finds out he's discovered a calf when she tries to follow him. She initially runs away in terror, but she eventually becomes friends with the animal and brings her back to the hut for milk. The next day, in the hopes that the speed will allow her to get through, Frau climbs into her friend's vehicle and heads down the road toward the settlement. On the other side, she even spots an abandoned car, which gives her hope. Sadly, it fails, and the vehicle collides with a barrier. She finally confronts reality and breaks down in bed. She even thinks about erasing herself, but she chooses to attempt to live in remembrance of her friends as they have prepared the cabin with food. Frau sets up her own potato farm outside with the supplies, which includes some potatoes and loads of wood. Lynx perseveres, determined to assist. Frau chooses to stay indoors on May 30th since it is raining all day. But when she hears a strange sound and goes to investigate with a knife in hand, she discovers a wet cat meowing outside. Frau now has three animal friends when the cat is also adopted. In a lonely world, Lynx has become her only buddy. Frau eventually makes the decision to try hunting. She discovers the wrecked automobile once more while exploring the area, and when she turns on the radio, only one station has music and the majority only have static. She also discovers a map, so she chooses to try to find a valley by following it. After Lynx appears, they trek for several hours until they come to an abandoned truck. Frau attempts to approach it, but they are forced to turn around when the barrier comes in the way. She can now travel to the valleys via the fastest routes, which enables her to visit and depart within a single day without having to spend much time apart from the other animals. She occasionally locates more cabins, but they are never occupied. Even though she needs the deer meat to survive, this makes her feel bad when she goes hunting again. She remembers how the deer rolled in agony before passing away, which keeps her awake at night. She is so repulsed by her first hunt that she never makes any notes about it. Frau finds it difficult to go asleep one night due to a noisy thunderstorm. When she opens the cupboard the following morning after hearing a commotion emanating from it, she finds the cat has given birth. Frau gives the white kitten the name Pearl. Pearl is initially a little unkempt, but she soon develops into a stunning woman. On July 20th, Lynx silently assists Frau as she begins to collect the hay in the meadow. Every day, she carries the hay back to the cabin. She always makes sure to check on the farmhouse on the way back. It takes her around 3 weeks to harvest the entire meadow because of the weather and her physical constraints. Frau begins to cry as she realizes how difficult life is, but she chooses not to kill herself since she does not want to leave her animals behind. It takes her an additional 2 weeks to get out and live her life after being struck by despair. She gathers enough food for the entire winter in the forest by finding fruits on the trees and other vegetables on the ground. Frau now eats much healthier food with her dogs. Frau is terrified as she looks at the weird clothing she finds hanging on a tree one day. But it's only a nightmare. Although autumn is said to be her favorite season, she struggles to fall asleep, and her dreams only get worse. Fortunately, Lynx is always there to lift her spirits. He never seems grumpy, which amazes Frau, and she frequently gives him hugs to express gratitude for his companionship. Even though Lynx is no longer with her, Frau admits that she still talks to him when she goes for walks. The first snowfall occurs on October 27th and lasts for a few days. After that, warm winds arrive and continue to make noise throughout day and night. Frau finds it much more difficult to fall asleep. When Frau eventually exits the home again after 3 days of the wind, she discovers Pearl dead outside. Under Lynx's guidance, the cat is buried properly. Frau prepares to shoot a fox she spots by the stream later in the winter, but she chooses not to. She keeps thinking about Pearl's passing. She ultimately decides on mercy. Frau now treats Bella like a sister and brushes her every day in the cottage. She questions whether the cow is pregnant after noticing how round she has become. After a while, Frau is forced to hunt once more, and she finds it difficult to fall asleep at night. Frau watches Bella all day on January 11th after noticing some bleeding. She assists Bella in giving birth to a cute calf in the evening. With intense snowstorms, the winter days go by. Frau experiences seasonal depression and only gets out of bed when Lynx makes her. Frau makes the decision to relocate to one of the cabins in the meadows after the winter is over. She collects all of her animals on May 25th, and they all travel together to their new home. Frau feels more optimistic about the future after seeing the lovely pasture. She then lives in harmony with the surrounding nature, the animals, and the stars. She doesn't take notes because her recollections of those times are so vivid. She feels placated for the first time. Frau resumes taking notes on October 16th and spends a majority of her time doubling her stock of wood. She has poor recollections of those times, and on December 10th, she discovers a post that she doesn't recall making that reads, "Time passes fast." Frau grows increasingly pensive as the snow falls once more and considers how both humans and animals are compelled to survive against their will. She discovers one day that the black family ignores the white crow that frequently flies around the house. Frau criticizes the other crows for their prejudice and finds the white crow to be beautiful. Every time the white crow's group abandons it, she also begins to leave food out for it. After residing inside the barrier for 2 years, Frau eventually forgets about her previous existence. She has also given up on ever being located. She and her animals go to a new home in early June in the hopes that the relocation will improve her mood. Regretfully, she cannot restore the first summer's enchantment. Frau and Lynx are returning from a walk one day when Lynx hears something close to their house and rushes in its direction. When Frau finally catches up, she is appalled to see an odd man using an axe to murder Bella's son. Frau rushes to the home to retrieve her weapon as Lynx leaps on the man to stop him. Sadly, she is not quick enough, and Lynx has already been killed when she emerges. Frau kills the man out of rage and then desperately clings to Lynx. Without regret, the man's body is flung from the cliff. Frau, Bella, and the cat go to another house because she is unable to feel anything longer. Frau soon resumes her job, and since Lynx isn't there, she must spend more time alone thinking. Frau claims that she has moved on and will always treasure the memory of her animals as a source of inspiration to continue living. When she runs out of paper on February 25th, she stops her report and goes outside to feed the white crow.